Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we will continue from where we left. It is 26th shloka of the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It says, Kama Krodha Vimuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhi, Abhitho Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Vidithatmanam. Those who are free from anger and material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the supreme in very near future. In the very near future, okay, those are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the supreme in very near future. So we can see that when we are purified in our consciousness, so purification means the purification of the senses, and so it is by the practice of devotional service, so we can actually purify the senses. And once the senses are purified and we are constantly engaged in the devotional service, then very soon we will attain the supreme, right? Okay, this is a very famous sloka Prabhupada is quoting here. Anyway, we will read this. Purport: of the saintly persons who are constantly engaged in striving towards salvation, one who is in Krishna consciousness is the best of all. The Bhagavatam 4:22-39 confirms this fact as follows. So it's a very, very famous sloka it is. So it says, Yat pada pankaja palasha vilasha bhaktya karmashayam grahitam udkatayanti santaha tadvan riktamatayo yatayo piruddha shroto ganastamaranam bhaja vasudevam. So, Yat pada pankaja palasha vilasa bhaktya. So just try to worship in devotional service Vasudev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even great sages are not able to control the forces of the senses effectively as those who are engaged in the transcendental bliss by serving the lotus feet of the Lord, uprooting the deep-grown desires for fruitive activities. So here, in that sloka in itself, this is sloka is 26. The sloka in itself is talking about no one who's free from anger and material desires, and who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection. So they will get liberated. And Prabhupada in the purport is telling, how can a person actually reach to that stage? So that stage of getting free from anger and all material desires, so that is possible when they get engaged, when they are engaged in devotional service of the Lord. And especially in the Bhagavatam class series that is happening in everyday morning, we have this wonderful section of the prayers by Lord Shiva is going on, which is called Rudra Gita. And there also Lord Shiva is glorifying the form of the Lord, and especially yesterday and today the shlokas that were discussed were on the lotus feet of the Lord. So the lotus feet of the Lord, here also it is mentioned, Yet Pada Pankaja, no, sorry, here, Yet Pada Pankaja, no, like it is, no, of whose, Pada Pankaja means like lotus feet, and Palasa means like is the petals of the lotus feet, right? So Yet Pada Pankaja Palasa, Vilasa Bhaktya. So like if somebody is like engaged in the devotional service of the lotus feet of the Lord, no, then karmashayam grahitam udgradayanti santaha. So like the material desires will be finished just by meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. No one's material desire will be finished. So we have the good fortune of being engaged in the service of the Lord, and like good fortune of taking the darshan of the Lord, offering arti to the Lord, and things like that. So we should deeply meditate on the form of the Lord, and when we do that, now our material desires will be finished, right? So in the conditioned soul, the desires to enjoy fruitive results of work is so deep rooted that it is very difficult even for great sages to control such desire despite great endeavors. A devotee of the Lord, constantly engaged in devotional service in Krishna consciousness, perfect in self realization, very quickly attains liberation in the Supreme. No, because it is very difficult to control and very difficult to overcome the material desires. But then the devotee of the Lord who's engaged constantly in Krishna consciousness, they can very quickly come out. It's based on the sloka that is mentioned here. Etpada pankaja palasha vilasha bhaktya karmashayam grahitam utkratayanti. So like the karmashaya, like the material desires will be cut, finished, by constant engagement in devotional service. Okay, owing to his complete knowledge in self realization, he always remains in trance. To cite an analogous example of this, Darshana Dhyana Samsparshayar Matsya Kurma Vihangamaha Swanya Hapatyani Pushnanti Tataham Api Padmaja. So, by vision, by meditation, and by touch, only do the fish, the tortoise, and the birds maintain their offsprings. Similarly, do I also, O Padmaja. So, like here we see that is a very nice thing. Darshana, Dhyana, and Samsparshar. So darshana means like just by seeing, and dhyana means just by meditating, and samsparsha means sparsha means like touching, right? So that is how fishes actually like hatch their eggs by seeing, by their darshana, and tortoise by meditation. So tortoise lays eggs on the shore, and then the tortoise goes into the ocean, and tortoise constantly meditate on the eggs. So if you kill the tortoise, then the eggs will not hatch. So no, it is though the tortoise is there somewhere off, but then if you kill the tortoise, the eggs will not hatch, because the eggs of tortoise gets hatched by the meditation of the tortoise. So that's why tortoise is a very nice symbol for meditation. It's very deep in its meditation. So, like fishes by seeing, tortoise by meditation, and the birds by samsparsha. Now, we all have seen the birds. They know, if you don't like take care of your balcony, like the birds will come and put their nest there. And how do they hatch? They come and sit on top of the nest. No, samsparsha. So sparsha is required, for hatching. So this is like so and the birds maintain their offspring. Similarly, do I also, O Padmaja? Like here we see Padmaja means like anything that is born from the lotus flower is called Padmaja. So like which is Ja means like to take birth, and Padma means lotus. So anything that is taken birth from lotus. So generally Lakshmi Devi is called as Padmaja. She is born from the lotus, and like so I don't know here, like when it is talked about Padmaja, it talks about what it talks about, I don't know. So anyways, like let's continue the purport. The fishes brings up its offspring simply by looking at them. The tortoise brings up its offspring simply by meditation. The eggs of the tortoise are laid on land, and the tortoise meditates on the eggs while in the water. Similarly, a devotee in Krishna consciousness, although far away from Lord's abode, can elevate himself to that abode simply by thinking of him constantly. By engagement in Krishna consciousness, he does not feel the pangs of material miseries. This state of life is called Brahma Nirvana, or the absence of material miseries, due to being constantly immersed in the Supreme. Okay, so next shloka. Sparshan kritva bahyams chakshu chaivantare bhruvoh pranapano samau kritva nasabhyantara charino yatendriya mano buddhir munir moksha parayanah vigate vigate cha bhaya krodho yasada mukta eva saha. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostril, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence, the transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. Here Krishna is laying the foundation for the next chapter, that is the dhyana yoga. So here we see that in the beginning of fifth chapter, Arjuna was again in confusion that in the fourth chapter was transcendental knowledge, no jnana, and in the end of fourth chapter, Krishna tells that equipped with this knowledge, now you get up and fight. So Arjuna's understanding of jnana means like to take sannyas, and you are asking me to take sannyas, and at the same time you are asking me to fight. So how is it possible? So then Krishna says, no, I am not taking you to take asking you to take sannyas. I am asking you to do the nishkama karma yoga. So that means I'm asking you to work with detachment. So if you work with detachment, it is as good as taking sannyas, right? So he's telling that if you work with detachment, it's as good as taking sannyas, and no, you can function in that way. And if you like, you have to be detached from the material world, and you have to be attached to something. What is that something? So Krishna is telling you have to attach to me. So you have to attach to the Supreme Lord Krishna. And how to get attached to? He is telling that, like this meditation. He's quoting this one, like, he's just giving this system of Ashtanga yoga. This is a way of meditating on the Supreme Lord by controlling the senses, and putting the focus below between the eyebrows, and suspending the breath and things like that and all. So he's actually laying the foundation for dhyana yoga, which he will explain in detail in the next chapter. Okay, purport. Being engaged in Krishna consciousness, one can immediately understand one's spiritual identity, and then one can understand the Supreme Lord by means of devotional service. When one is well situated in devotional service, one comes to the transcendental position, qualified to feel the presence of the Lord in the sphere of one's activity. This particular position is called liberation in the Supreme. After explaining the above principle of liberation in the Supreme, the Lord gives instruction to Arjuna as to how one can come to that position by the practice of mysticism or yoga known as Ashtanga Yoga, which is divisible into eightfold procedures called Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So, Yama means like that which is don'ts, and Niyama means do's, and Asana means the sitting postures, Pranayama means the breathing techniques, and then the Pratyahar means to, Ahar means sense objects, uh, detaching the sense objects from the senses, parityaha ahara, like to keep the sense objects at a distance. This all are part of, in the next chapter we will study, these are all part of yoga ruruksha. That means a beginner of a yoga, he will do all these things. That is do's and don'ts, asana, pranayama, and pratyahara. And then an advanced person, what he will do? Dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So he will do meditation on the Lord. So this all this asana, pranayama, and all these things is during meditation. The body should not give any trouble, and the mind should not drag here and there. So for that, they are practicing all these preliminary procedures. And then why they practice all these things? For the purpose of dhyana, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Right. So that is very important. Okay. In the sixth chapter, the subject of yoga is explicitly detailed, and the end of fifth chapter, it is only preliminarily explained. one has to drive out the sense objects such as sound, touch, form, taste, and smell by pratyahara process in the yoga, and then keep the vision of the eyes between the two eyebrows and concentrate on the tip of the nose with half closed lids. There is no benefit in closing the eyes altogether, because even there, because then there is every chance of falling asleep. Nor is there benefit in opening the eyes completely, because then there is hazard of being attracted by sense objects. So if we open, then there is danger. If we close, then there is danger. We have to keep it half closed. So, and then the breathing movement is restrained within the nostrils by neutralizing the upward, up moving and down moving air within the body. By practice of such yoga, one is able to gain control over the senses, refrain from outward sense objects, and thus prepare oneself for liberation in supreme. Right? So this yoga process helps one become free from all kinds of fear and anger, and thus feel the presence of super soul in the transcendental situation. In other words, Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of executing yoga principles. This will be thoroughly explained in the next chapter. A Krishna conscious person, however, being always engaged in devotional service, does not risk losing his senses to some other engagement. This is the better way of controlling the senses than by Ashtanga yoga. So this, anyways, Krishna will say, will reveal this point. Yoginam api sarvesham, no, matkathan antaratmana, shraddhavan bhajate yomam, tame yukta tamo matas, no, like that. I'm not remembering the exact sloka. So that's the way it concludes the next chapter. So that is, next chapter is going to be on Ashtanga yoga, and then, no, Krishna is going to tell that, no, don't worry, like, no, anyone who is like fully absorbed in my thought and devotional service in bhakti yoga, so then they don't need to do Ashtanga yoga for the purpose of attaining the Lord. So sometimes devotees also do some asana and pranayama and things like that, but that is not Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga means all the 8 features. So first of all, we should go to the forest to perform Ashtanga yoga. We cannot stay in the city and perform Ashtanga yoga. So this is like, okay, some health maintenance, we can do some yoga. That's a different thing. But for attaining the Supreme Lord, we are not doing Ashtanga yoga. No, then it is very tedious process. And when we have a better process as Krishna consciousness, then why we take the roundabout path and a long way of performing Ashtanga yoga. Anyway, as a matter of knowledge, we will study the Ashtanga yoga also, as we have studied the Karma yoga and Jnana yoga and things like that. So in the same way, we will study Ashtanga yoga also, as the matter of course. So Krishna is mentioning that. So text 29, this is a very, very important sloka. This is the peace formula of Bhagavad Gita. Bhoktaram yajna tapasham sarvaloka maheshwaram suhrudam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam shanti mrichati. So he is giving a prelude to Ashtanga yoga, but then he is telling about Bhakti yoga here. This is, one should understand that the Lord is the enjoyer, Bhokta. Bhog, we are offering Bhog to the Lord. Bhog means what? That which is enjoyed. And then Bhog Vilas Karna, right? So, and then Bhoktaram. Bhoktaram means like he is the bogi. The Lord is a bogi. We all are supposed to be yogi, and the Lord is a bogi. He is the enjoyer. And then Bhoktaram, and then Yajna Tapasham. So, of all the yajnas and tapashyas, that means of all the activities practically, right? So, the Lord is the enjoyer of all the activities, right? Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is the owner and proprietor of all the lokas. And Suhrudam Sarva Bhutanam. So one, like the Lord is the best well-wishing friend of all the living entities. Nyatva Mam Shanti Mrichati. So like understanding this, one can get Shanti, no peace. So like if we do the opposite of this, then we will become an atheist. So just a minute. It's a flight that is going. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay, so now here we see that now if we do the opposite of this, if we say I am the enjoyer of any particular activity, then we become an atheist. And then if we say that I am the owner and proprietor of even a small property, then we become an atheist. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, the Lord is the owner of everything. And then if we say Surudam Sarva Bhutanam, if we say I am the well-wishing friend of all the living entities, then also we become atheist. So because Lord is the well-wishing friend of all living entities. So I have often given this example that if somebody comes to our home and says that, no, I'll take care of your kid. We'll say like, who are you to take care of my kid? I know how to take care of my kid. So the same way, like everyone, Krishna mentions that everyone is his children. Like he says, Aham Bija Pratapita. That means I am the seed-giving father of all the living entities. And this we studied in Srimad Bhagavatam in the beginning of the creation, that the Supreme Lord impregnates the material nature with all living entities. No, so that's how the material nature actually gets all the living entities. And here, all the living entities are born from different father and mother, but originally, like the Lord is the one who's knows the seed giver of our birth. No, originally he only put us into the material world. So, and he's the father. And if he's the father, then everybody should take care, take advice from the father. So just like when we are at home, the parents actually control us, and when we go to the school, on the order of the parents or on the consent of the parents, the teachers control us, right? So in the same way, like if we have entered a particular family, so no, we are controlled by the parents, but no, on whose order? On the order of the Supreme Lord. He is the ultimate father, and if that father says, "Okay, send my child back," then any material parent has to give up. Saying, "Okay, fine, the Lord is calling," right? So no, this is how sometimes when we join ashram, we give up we come out of the family. So like, how is it? Sometimes they ask like, why are you not serving your parents? So then this is a calling from the supreme parents, so supreme father. So then we have to engage in that service. Very few people get this kind of thought that we have to be fully engaged in the service of the supreme father. So here we see that even in this connection, always I remember Dhruva Maharaj's case. When Dhruva Maharaj was like insulted by his stepmother, so he comes crying to his mother, and then like Dhruva Maharaj's mother Suniti, she tells that, you see, I am just a poor woman, and like I'm a queen, but I don't have much respect in the kingdom. No, the king doesn't care for me, so it's all your stepmother's rule that is happening here, so I cannot do much. So like, I can feel for you, but I cannot do much. So you should take shelter of the supreme lord, who's the mother of all the mothers, who's mother of everyone. So no, you should take shelter of that supreme lord. So this is a very nice education, that we should give. So rather than saying like, I will protect, I will take care, so we should say that, no, you should take shelter of the supreme lord. Anyone who's there in our protection, so we should always encourage them. You should take shelter of the supreme lord. No, that is very important, right? So sugrudam sarva bhutanam. So that way we see Jnatva. So one who understands me in this way, Shanti Mrichati. No, he gets Shanti. No, he gets relief from all the material miseries, or peace. Right? So a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Right? So purport: the conditioned souls within the clutches of illusory energy are all anxious to attain peace in the material world, but they do not know the formula for peace, which is explained in this part of Bhagavad Gita. The greatest peace formula is simply this: Lord Krishna is the beneficiary of all human activities. Men should offer everything in the transcendental service of the Lord, because he is the proprietor of all planets and the demigods thereon. No one is greater than he. He is greater than the greatest of the demigods, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. So in the Vedas, Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6-7, the Supreme Lord is described as Tham Ishwaram Paramam Maheshwaram. Under the spell of illusion, living entities are trying to be lords of all they survey, but actually they are dominated by the material energy of the Lord. The Lord is the master of material nature, and the conditioned souls are under the stringent rules of material nature. Unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in the world, either individually or collectively. So here in this world, people, they keep trying to do different things, saying that I am doing so many things, why I'm not happy. So the main problem is we are thinking we are doing and we can control the situation. The moment we understand the situations cannot be controlled by me, I can just simply try. And no, if that is there in my fate that I have to I know that particular thing has to happen, then it will happen. If it is not there, then it is not going to happen. So it is all based on the karma, and we have to attribute our actions. Because I've got a human body, I've got some energy, and it has been given to me, right? It's just like if I go to a company for employment, I've been given salary. So if I'm given salary, then I should work. No, that's my job. So in the same way, because I've been given body, intelligence, energy, I should use that in service of the Lord. No, that is the purpose, not for achieving anything. If we go behind achievement, then we will be so much miserable, because achievements are not there in our hand. It should be awarded by the Lord, or it should be awarded by the material nature. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasah. So we cannot get. So if we put our focus on things which are beyond our control, so then we are going to be miserable all the time, because we are trying to do something, trying to, like, what is that? It's like if we are trying to catch the sun or the moon, we'll always be miserable, because it's not going to be possible. And here the case is, sometimes, like, this we can actually understand by this example. If a small kid is there, and then you are having some ball in your hand, and the kid is trying to take the ball out of your hand, and then no, like, sometimes you don't give, and sometimes you give, and then the kid thinks that, no, you see, like, no, I have taken it. So I got it. So it doesn't know that, no, we have very mercifully given the ball, and if we wanted, then no, the child could never take it, right? That's the way the material nature is. And no, if the material nature wants, or the Lord sanctions, we will get something. And if the Lord doesn't sanction, we will not get that. So we are trying, our endeavor is there, we are stretching our hands, and we are trying to take something. But until unless the Lord sanctions and material nature executes, we are not going to get anything, right? So such an improbable kind of a thing, if we want to achieve anything material or even spiritual, if we tie ourselves with the result of the action, we will be miserable, because it is uncertain. It is not there in our hand. So what is certain? My endeavor. If I am satisfied with my endeavor, that I have tried to do devotional service to the Lord, and what is the position I'm having, that doesn't matter. If I am satisfied with my endeavor, then nobody can make me distressed. No, that's a perfect peace formula, right? So this is what Prabhupada is mentioning here. Unless one understands, like, what is that? So the Lord is a master of material nature, and the conditioned souls are under stringent rules of material nature, right? Unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in the world, either individually or collectively. Because something will happen in the life that will ruin our whole peace. No, I wanted to do this thing. No, it's everything I'm planning, everything is going on good, and suddenly something is not going on my way. That's a perfect formula for depression. So if a person is Krishna conscious, he will say, see, like, when Krishna wanted, he gave. No, I am doing my endeavor, and now also I did my endeavor. Krishna did not want, he did not give. I am happy with my endeavor. So who can make him any sad? Right? So he'll always be blissful. So that's Krishna consciousness, right? So that's the way, like, we want to mold ourselves. And in fact, this is a very important teaching that we have to give to, that's what we are extending to the people, right? So this is such an amazing peace formula. And if people can be trained in this formula, that, don't be attached to the results, be satisfied with the endeavor that is, that we are putting in. So then people can actually become so peaceful. So all these psychiatric hospitals can be completely closed, so all the depression cases can completely, cured. So, but then unfortunately, like, it's, we don't have sufficient number of people who are experienced in this, who have thorough faith in this, and who have put it into practice and then seen the results, right? So we are very few of us, who are trying to do this. So we need to have many people doing this. It is not going to work theoretically. No, I just read this sloka, I go and tell to somebody. It's not going to work theoretically. I have to practice devotional service, and I have to control my senses, and then I have to detach myself from enjoying the results of my activities. Then when I speak, it makes some effect. No, it actually transforms somebody's hearts. So it is very, very important that we practice this thing. No, we practice, and then we try to educate others primarily by our personal example, right? So then it will become very, very solid principle. Okay, so unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in this world, either individually or collectively. This is the sense of Krishna consciousness. Lord Krishna is the supreme predominator, and all living entities, including the great demigods, are his subordinates. One can attain perfect peace only in complete Krishna consciousness. Okay. The fifth chapter is a practical explanation of Krishna consciousness, generally known as Karma Yoga. The question of mental speculation as to how Karma Yoga can give liberation is answered herewith. So basically, like, Karma Yoga means there is it is actually a lower rung of this one in the yoga ladder. But then here, when the Karma Yoga, the karma is fully directed towards pleasing the Supreme Lord, then the Karma Yoga becomes Krishna consciousness. No, that is the kind of Karma Yoga that is described here. So wherein it is fully Krishna consciousness, fully bhakti, no, that is described here. Okay, so the question of mental speculation as to how Karma Yoga can give liberation is answered herewith. No, how Karma Yoga can give liberation? Jnana means to give up all the material activities and to cultivate the knowledge that I am not the what is that the material elements. I'm not part of the material elements. I'm spirit soul. And then he's trying to contemplate and educate himself in that particular direction. So that is, after taking sannyas, he is giving up all the karmic activities, and then he's burning his existing karma by the way of his intense jnana agni, that is mentioned. So in that way, he becomes liberated. And the person engaged in the worldly activities, how he can be liberated? So by karma yoga, by the worldly activities as desired by the Lord, as instructed by the Lord, and for the pleasure of the Lord when he does. So then his senses become purified, and then he also gets knowledge and liberation, right? So both the things, they just come. Okay, to work in Krishna consciousness is to work with complete knowledge of the Lord as the predominator. Such work is not different from the transcendental knowledge, right? So the Jnana Yogi takes sannyas and practices Jnana Yoga. That and a Karma Yogi who is tending towards bhakti, like, who's actually wanting to offer pleasure to Krishna and doing everything as Krishna wants, he also gets transcendental knowledge and he also gets liberated, right? So direct Krishna consciousness is bhakti yoga, and jnana yoga is path leading to bhakti. Krishna consciousness means to work in full knowledge of one's relationship with the Supreme Absolute. And the perfection of this consciousness is full knowledge of Krishna, the Supreme, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that we saw in the fourth chapter itself, like how Krishna is, divine. His birth and appearance and everything is divine, and things like that. So that's a very amazing knowledge which can offer liberation. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti. So by understanding Krishna, so we will become completely free from all material bondage. So the basic level of knowledge is I am not the body, I am spirit. Then highest level of knowledge is Krishna is Vasudevam Sarvamiti, right? So Krishna is everything, and then I must dedicate myself in the service of Krishna. That's the highest form of knowledge. Okay, a pure soul is the eternal servant of God as his fragmental part and parcel. He comes in contact with Maya illusion due to the desire to lord it over Maya. So we come under Maya because we want to control Maya. We think that, here is something that I can control. That's the allurement that we had, and we tried to control Maya. The irony of the case is that Maya is controlling us now. So we want to control the material nature, but actually material nature controls us, right? And that is the cause of his many sufferings. As long as he is in contact with matter, he has to execute work in terms of material necessities. So the moment we get into matter, then immediately we have to like behave like the moment we get a job in an organization, immediately we have to follow the rules and regulations of the organization, right? So in the same way here. So Krishna consciousness, however, brings one into spiritual life even while one is within the jurisdiction of matter, for it is an arousing of spiritual existence by practice in the material world, right? So in the material world, we have material senses, everything is material around us, but Krishna is very merciful. He has given us a spiritual practice involving all the material elements. No Arati we are offering. Arati, the deeper meaning is we are offering earth, water, fire, air, ether, everything, in the service of the Lord, right? So it's like fragrance, that is earth, and then fire we are offering, and water we are offering, and pushpa, that is smell, that we are offering, again, and then chamara, that is like ether and things like that. So all the elements, it's actually a symbolic way of offering all the elements, all the energies of the Lord back in service of the Lord. So it's like it's actually Atma Samarpan. The Arati performance is like Atma Samarpan. So we are trying to offer, that thing. So in this way, we see that it's a practical way in which all the material elements can be used in the service of the Lord. And because it is service of the Lord, and it just purifies our senses. Though the elements involved are material, so the whole process is devotional, right? Because it's Krishna's desire. So Krishna has framed a policy like that. So we are advancing. Okay, the more one is advanced, the more he is freed from the clutches of matter. The Lord is not partial towards anyone. Everything depends on one's practical performance of duties in Krishna consciousness, which helps one control the senses in every respect and conquer the influence of desire and anger. And one who stands fast in Krishna consciousness, that means one who stands steady in Krishna consciousness, controlling the above mentioned passions, remains factually in transcendental stage or Brahma Nirvana, right? So, like if somebody can actually control his urges of the material senses, then he is practically in Brahma Nirvana, he's in the transcendental stage. The eightfold yoga mysticism is automatically practiced in Krishna consciousness because the ultimate purpose is served, right? So what is the ultimate purpose? In after doing all the asana, pranayama, pratyahar and everything, one has to put his this one in dharana, dhyana and samadhi, means constant meditation on the Lord. So Krishna consciousness like is helping us by offering arati to the Lord, by chanting the names of the Lord, by tasting the food that is first tasted by the Lord, right? So this all makes us infected. Prabhupada says that if a person is infected by a disease, and if he has had some food, and if you take his remnants, you'll become infected by that disease, right? Now coronavirus is also like that. You'll become infected by the disease. In the same way, like if we take Krishna Prasad, which is first tasted by Krishna, we'll get infected by Krishna. Right? So that's this one. So in that way, like no Ashtanga Yoga process, we have to go to the forest and we have to practice all this eightfold, very severe type of yoga process. And after that, you can meditate on the Lord, and still there is no guarantee that you will not be attracted to the material things. But Krishna consciousness is so amazing. It gives the infected food to us, and then we just the people think that, oh, this is a nice feast that is offered, but actually it is infected food. It is infected with Krishna, and more they eat, more they become Krishna conscious, right? So that is this one. So there is a gradual process of elevation in the practice of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. But these only preface perfection by devotional service, which alone can award peace to the human beings. It is the highest perfection of life. We see that all this Ashtanga yoga or Jnana yoga or Karma yoga, whatever it is, they are putting it as, like Prabhupada is writing it as, they only preface the perfection by devotional service. That means actual perfection has to be offered by devotional service only. Even if somebody wants to get Siddhi in Karma yoga, or Siddhi in Jnana yoga, or Siddhi in Ashtanga yoga, they have to have a touch of Bhakti yoga, because that is the one which is finally giving the perfection actually. So they need to have this. So it is the highest perfection of life. Okay, thus in the Bhaktivedanta purport of 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the matter of Karma Yoga or action in Krishna consciousness. Okay. So there is a question, who is the judge of endeavors in material world? We can acknowledge uncertainty within, yet we want certainty outside. Who's the judge of endeavors in the material world? I didn't understand this question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, you were talking about endeavor, and earlier also we have discussed it. So, all our endeavors should be towards Krishna consciousness. But when we talk in material plane, we take a lot of endeavors for a lot of things, even endeavors towards our spiritual growth.
Hmm.
So, but the perception around how much we try, we are caught up with the modes in the material world, and the perception around doesn't acknowledge the endeavors which we do. So who judges it? Is the internal satisfaction enough, or the outside acknowledgement? And when I
we
talk about certain,
saw we saw that thing, right? Bhoktaram Eknatapasham. So like the Lord is to be pleased, the people around us are to be pleased or not. If they are pleased, it's okay. If they're not pleased also, it's okay. So the Lord is supposed to be pleased. No, he is the judge. And he says that Anumanta Upadrishta, I am the sanctioner, I am the overseer. No, he is the one who is overseeing all the things. And the Lord is the judge, the Paramatma is the judge. And when Paramatma becomes pleased, then we become pleased, right? So if the
so
Lord
is
senses
is
become
he
pleased, then we become pleased.
so is he overseeing it, like whatever I am thinking inside? Am I, when I'm talking of endeavors here, I am not talking about achieving materialistic success. I am talking about my endeavors of self development, or which I feel,
Yeah, yeah.
the karmas have gone wrong.
Before even we can
uh,
think, the Lord knows what we are ever to think.
because it is constantly happening with me, whatever situation I am facing, and the instant thing would be that, yes, why this also? But then, the immediate next moment, I feel that, yes, I have done a similar thing when I was in my 20s or something, and good I am learning it right now, and I sincerely thank him. And I do take the endeavor to improve myself, or to develop that empathy in me. So is he watching that endeavors, because I am in the material world, caught up by the modes, and this is
He's
all
the
internal
most
within me?
closest person to us. And I
Yeah.
think we read this analogy in one of the purports in one of the sessions. The Lord is so close to us, just like a person holding a flower. No, he can actually smell the flower. He's not coming in touch with the flower, but he can smell the flower. In the same
Yeah.
way, the Lord knows everything about us, every single thing about us, what we are thinking, what we are doing, what we are about to think, what we probably will think. No, everything. No, he knows everything. He knows.
And
So
when I'm talking about certainty and uncertainty, I know, I know in life everything is uncertain, and and I am able to handle that. But still, a certain amount of, you start building what you call desire, or what you call expectation. So you start expecting, certain things to happen, and happen in that way. And I do understand he's the controller, but still, I get caught up in the modes, and
yeah, the more
uh,
we advance in Krishna consciousness, more this expectations and demands will reduce, and that's called humility. Humility means I am just in the hands of the destiny and in the hands of the choice of the Lord, and whatever choice He takes, it's okay, and I am just eager to see how the life unfolds in front of me. So I am not having any expectation. I am very eager to see what's my great Lord is going to do. No, like he's always been like Uttama Sloka. He's always been, his activities are glorified with choice poetry. And such a person is orchestrating things, and such a person is the cause of this world. And what is he going to do next? No, I'm very eager to see. Just like, how if there is an interesting serial that is there, we will all be eager. What's next going to happen? So in the same way, like that's what is the life. The Lord is orchestrating everything, and then we just see that how it unfolds, and that is humility. And this other form is like the pride. We are all caught up in the material modes, and we all have this thing. So pride means that, okay, something, this thing has to happen, that thing has to happen. These are all some traces of pride actually. So now, by the practice of Krishna consciousness, so we will become completely, we will come to the position of reality, and then we'll understand, okay, the Lord is unfolding things, and slowly, the grip that we have, means that tight hold that we are trying to catch on to the material world will loosen. And then the material world, at some point in time, we will see that, okay, the material world is continuing, and even whether I desire or I do anything, still the material world is continuing, and it's the Lord's action. No, let him do that. So it will become like that. So then that becomes a very that's kind of a perfect situation state in which we'll be completely peaceful. So trying to control the material world, or trying to anticipate this has to happen or that has to happen, is actually an no cause of misery. That's the all of us are caught up with that in different degrees, and no, Krishna consciousness will free us from that, and then we will see the life as a very nice no adventurous no serial no that is going on, and we will always be very eager to know what's next.
Yes, definitely. This change has happened after, understanding about the Supreme Lord, because it's not that I ever complained too much to him, but yes, I can definitely feel the difference that, he is actually waiting to something give bigger to me. And, it's more in terms of the spiritual growth, the peace within, because earlier all acts used, everything we want a purposeful end, right? So now, I have started telling to myself or think within that the purposeful end lies there. And and I think that has made a lot of difference, in the way I am looking at things. Yet, I need to overcome the certainty and uncertainty aspect.
The constant engagement in devotional
Yes,
service, we will be able to come out. Hari Hari.
yes, yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So today we will call off here, and then we will continue tomorrow. Thank you all very much for participating in this program. We are it's very nice meditation that we have on Bhagavad Gita every day, and we are really I am really enjoying these sessions. By meditating on the words of Krishna and words of Srila Prabhupada, and this is giving us very amazing perspective of life, and pulling us out of so many problems that we could possibly have. And this month we are all trying our best to extend this opportunity to as many people as possible, and we will try to expand the book distribution to the best of our capacity. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Gita Marathon ki jai. Hare Krishna.